What's good? We got Youngboy, Real Killer, or Fake Gangster. I don't know if this is supposed to be like a documentary. I always say documentary. That's crazy. I don't know if this is supposed to be a documentary. I don't know who the fuck made the video. This shit is is that 5 hours long? 5 hours long. I'm telling y'all right now, I'm damn sure not even doing an hour of this video. Cause for what? I ain't that invested in no nigga life like that to be watching 5 hours. But anyway, if y'all new to the channel, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button. We about to get into this video. Real Killer, Fake Gangster.
Warning,
Which
this
one?
video contains themes of
question mark.
violence, death, and gang activity. The purpose of this video is to provide an educational account of historical events in the mainstream music industry.
Right.
No disrespect is intended. This video does not intend to glorify or glamorize the gang lifestyle. Every effort has been made to remove anything from this video that goes against YouTube's community guidelines, including swearing and violence. But if you'd like to see a fully uncut version of this video with everything I can't show you on YouTube, then head on over to patreon.com/traplawross, where you can watch all of my biggest documentaries uncut for just $2. But if you're not into that, just hit the subscribe button.
This the dude who took probably 10 hours out of his day to make a documentary that's 5 hours long on somebody he don't know, probably never seen. Yeah, let's go.
Enjoy the rest of the video.
That's crazy.
Thank you.
He got a lot of time on his hands.
Over the last 5 years, there's been few rappers that have generated as much excitement and controversy as Youngboy. His music is personal, thought-provoking, and violent in equal measure. He's one of the few artists who can top the Billboard charts with music all about killing, death, and destruction. But his ability to communicate the stark realities of life growing up in the dangerous slums of Baton Rouge have inspired people all over America and the world at large. Youngboy's experiences in the gang-infested slums of Louisiana, where it's...
I love how when they talk about like where people from, they always the dangerous infected slums of Louisiana. They act like niggas having World War III's out there, bitch. Like niggas just getting killed. Bro, that shit probably like any other neighborhood. It just higher in crime. It ain't. Well, I don't know. I ain't lived there, but I'm just saying, like, every time they do like a documentary or they explaining some shit that somebody do, they always act like it was just hell on earth where they stayed at. You know what I'm saying? Like,
kill or be killed inspired a generation of downtrodden youngsters to struggle through the pain too. Because despite losing family members and being the target of numerous assassination attempts, Youngboy has always managed to come out on top. Not just surviving, but beating the odds and coming back bigger every single time. It's rare to find an artist who attracts this much love and hate all at the same time. And Youngboy's thugged out survival anthems for the streets have made him one of the most beloved artists in history. But his influence has a dark side too, because some might say that his aggressive murder anthems are inspiring a generation of lost teenagers to slide and resort to violence just like he had to. But can Youngboy really be blamed? When basketball player Ja Morant ended up in hot water for flashing a gun in a strip club to Youngboy's music, many people suggested that this was Youngboy's fault. And considering just how many lives seem to have been lost as a direct result of Youngboy's career, whether it's the murder of rival Baton Rouge rapper G Money, to the slaying of Youngboy's beloved manager Big Dump, or even the killing of Chicago rap legend King Von, seemingly a self-defense shooting, the result of...
Oh my... I'm already not liking this, bro. Because why are you... What the fuck did Youngboy have to do with King Von getting killed? Nothing. Like, bro, what are you talking about? And then, just because somebody have beef with somebody and that person end up dead, that don't mean that person the reason they died. Like, do y'all realize, like, people have multiple people who they have problems with? Like, why y'all just assume just because he's, like, I don't know, the famous nigga who got beef with the nigga who died, that he's the one who did? Like, bro, y'all gotta stop.
Von trying to fight one of Youngboy's friends to say Youngboy and his NBA crew are dangerous would be an understatement. But is the group of people that Youngboy surrounds himself a gang of loose cannons shooting first and asking questions later, or are they just really a family of youngsters with a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that they would put their lives on the line to protect? Over the course of his career, so many people have died that Youngboy even refers to himself as the Murder Man, and claiming in numerous songs to have been the direct cause of as many as 7 murders in his hometown. Over the years, many people have questioned the authenticity of Youngboy's gangster image.
You got cap in your raps. Youngboy talking about on this song, bro.
In spite of all of the violence surrounding his career, in 2022, Youngboy had a change of heart, perhaps coming the result of reflecting on all of the destruction and pain that had been caused by his music career, or as a result of years of legal battles that have seen Youngboy endlessly confined to a cell or on house arrest. Because recently, he's been calling to stop the violence, pledging in interviews to stop promoting murder and violence in his songs, and even taking steps to de-escalate the conflict with his most hated rivals in Baton Rouge, with Youngboy's crew even sharing the stage with their mortal enemy Fredo Bang for a special charity concert aiming to stop the violence. But that said, even these intentions have been called into question, when after pledging to stop the violence, Youngboy continues to drop violent murder anthems back to back. So, the $50 million question remains unanswered. Is Youngboy really a gravedigger, the self-proclaimed murder man of Baton Rouge, really serious about stopping the violence? Or is this all just a ploy to try and avoid the responsibility for convincing a generation of teenagers to pick up a gun and get active in the streets? Well, today we're going to take a closer look at the murders
influence to have people picking up guns. They just blaming YB for everything, huh? Who made him pick up a gun then? If so, that's what he did. Who made him pick up a gun? Huh? If he the reason everybody else picking up guns, who made him pick up a gun? What's up with this white guy, man?
the music and the man, and decide once and for all, is Youngboy really as dangerous as they say he is?
It's either you're gonna die, you're either gonna be a bum, or you're gonna be successful, or you're gonna go to jail. And the reason I ain't that way, because the scary part, I don't know which one I'm gonna be. But I ain't dumb though, you hear me? And them people who play that role, to y'all, them know I ain't dumb. The people who really know me, they know I ain't dumb, you hear me? How the f I came this far? You think I came this far by being dumb? Come on, man.
Why they ain't play the other part? Stupid bitch. That's what they should have. Why they gotta stop cursing?
Here's one thing you need to do
Why
before
the
buying
fuck I
anything
didn't
online.
pay for the
Don't spend
ads
another
yet?
dime on Amazon
I swear to
until
God,
you watch
I be
this
forgetting.
first. Watch
I be
this.
telling y'all I'm paying
I
for the
can show you
ads
how to
so
get
I can
this.
just skip over it. But
Today's story takes place in the state of Louisiana. Louisiana is in the United States Deep South, a historic region of the US with a dark history. The Deep South has had deep ties to the historic slave trade, with these particular states like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia historically being heavily dependent on the plantation system, which saw black people kidnapped from their native lands in Africa and put to work against their will in cotton fields for the benefit of
what the fuck this got to do with Youngboy?
white Americans. Even after the Confederate States lost the Civil War and slavery was abolished, racism continued to cast a shadow over Louisiana for many years. Attempts were made to restrict free black people from voting, and racist organizations
This
like
nigga
the
just
White
went
League were
straight
formed
into
in
history.
Louisiana
I did not
to terrorize,
come on this bitch to go to
intimidate,
history.
and target the black
History
community
class.
there. Eventually, after
The
reflecting
fuck,
the region's
nigga?
divide,
You don't even, you
2009,
shouldn't even
Youngboy's
be speaking on that. You are not a teacher. And you already lying in the beginning. We don't even know if you lying right now. Just stick to the Youngboy story, bro.
father, along with 3 other men, one of whom was his brother Dallas, had apparently robbed Albi's convenience store on North Sherwood Forest. The robbery got ugly, and Youngboy's father shot a store clerk in the leg during this altercation. This would earn him charges of armed robbery and attempted first-degree murder. He would plead not guilty, and after a jury trial, the state would find him guilty as charged on 2 counts, getting himself 10 years for the robbery and 50 years for the attempted murder. Many years later, Youngboy would even reference his father's incarceration, rapping on the song Cross Me that it was actually his uncle, his father's brother, that was there for the robbery, who snitched and got him 55 years in jail. As well as referencing his father's plight on the song Where the...
Hey, boy, you shoot a motherfucker trying to rob a corner store. You shoot a motherfucker and they threaten me with 55 years because your dumb ass tried to steal $300 from a corner store. I'ma tell on your ass too. Straight up. Because you need time to think about what the fuck you did. Or what was your purpose of getting $300 and jail time. The fuck you robbing a corner store for? Like,
The Love At, where he raps that he prays he doesn't become an alcoholic like his father, as well as paying respects and suggesting that his father needs a second chance at life because robbing people for their money was how he was trying to provide for his family. It seemed like both sides of Youngboy's family had a history of robbery, as his uncle on his mother's side was also an alleged known robber in Baton Rouge. However, unfortunately, he would suffer a worse fate than Youngboy's father. Andy Golden, the uncle who Youngboy referenced a couple of times in his music, was apparently shot in the head during a robbery attempt. Youngboy mentions on the track Acquittal how he heard stories about how his uncle was shot in the head, implying that their relationship was most likely non-existent if Youngboy had to rely on stories to hear all about his life. As well as in the track R.I.P. Lil Dave, when Youngboy speaks of his uncle who got shot in the head and died while hitting a lick. Further references to this are heard on the track 38 Baby, when Youngboy outright declares that Andy Golden was his uncle, which means that robbery is in his genes. I mean, just take a second to think about the situation that Youngboy was dealing with here as a child. His father is serving 55 years for robbery, with one uncle who snitched on him, and his other uncle was also a prolific robber who got shot in the head and killed during a robbery. All this would leave him as a lost child with no father figure, who even saw robbery as part of his DNA. That's a heavy situation for an 8-year-old kid to be dealing with. And with no father figure in his life, Youngboy would have to rely on the females in his family to look after him and make him a man. Despite his mother Sharonda Golden being alive, she apparently wasn't there for Youngboy as a child at all times. So, he would initially be raised by his loving grandmother Alice Golden, but unfortunately, Youngboy's grandmother would pass away too, leaving him devastated for years to come. Youngboy would open up about the loss of his grandmother in a Billboard interview in 2023, calling her his protector. After losing his grandmother, with his father in jail and his mother out of the picture, Youngboy wound up in a group home, and it would be here that he would be subject to physical abuse and bullying.
Bro, you know what? This why when they be doing these little story shit, they always be like, the shit be like, cap, like the rappers, like whoever they do the documentary on or whatever, this kind of like a documentary. They get mad because like, bro, the bro is just sitting in my face lying. And I can't look at this lying ass nigga. With his mother being totally out the picture. Bitch, he already said his mother wasn't out the picture. And she already said he wasn't out the picture. Just because the niggas stay with their grandma don't mean they mama out the picture. And newsflash, majority of a lot of motherfuckers don't got their motherfucking daddy in their life. Okay, it's not like motherfucking, my daddy ain't here, I'm finna go hit a lick. Like, what, bro? You need to start speaking on black people, and not because you white, but because you don't understand what the fuck you talking about. And your cockeyed ass in here telling lies and trying to make up shit to make this shit sound good so you can get viewers and shit. That ain't right, bro. You talking about his man, mama is not in his life. When she see you, she gonna slap the shit out you. You ain't even have permission to do this shit. You making money off a nigga, and I guarantee you he ain't have shit to do with this. Because if he did, he would have segments in this bitch of him talking as well. Not just you making shit up, you fucking Einstein looking.
He would later explain in a Billboard interview that it was this experience of being targeted in the group home that led him to cultivate his own dark and violent side for protection. Clearly, Youngboy had to fight for survival as a child. In fact, he actually broke his neck whilst he was wrestling as a toddler. This was a serious injury which required him to wear a full neck and head brace whilst his spine healed. This was a corrective procedure which left him with the 3 iconic head scars that he has on his head to this day, an everyday reminder on his face of just one painful incident that he endured as a child, and something his enemies are still quick to use against him, with the hurtful moniker Denthead often being levied against him. Youngboy had gone through so many traumatic experiences as a child, it's unsurprising that he would grow up dealing with a lot of pain. But even outside of the tragedies in his own family, Youngboy would also suffer losses outside the home. When he was just age 10, he would end up losing one of his closest childhood friends to gun violence. As a child, Youngboy was friends with another boy who was around 6 years older than him, a boy by the name of David Cobb, aka Lil Dave. On March the 27th, 2010, a memorial picnic was being held at a park on Woodpecker Street in Scotlandville in Baton Rouge. This event was intended to honour the memory of local teens who had lost their lives to gun violence. But unfortunately, the very thing that this event was intending to shed a light on would end up happening that same day. Because at some point, a fight broke out and bullets started flying. One of those bullets hit 16-year-old David Cobb in the spine, and despite there being hundreds of witnesses, this case would ultimately go on unsolved, partly due to a fear in the community of retaliation against those who would be seen as a snitch for speaking to law enforcement. As a result, the family of Lil Dave would be left grieving without closure, heartbroken that their child lost his life at an event that was intended to honour teens losing their lives to gun violence. And it wasn't just Dave's family who were devastated by this loss. Youngboy himself would be distraught and traumatised by losing a friend to gun violence so young. He would go on to rap about the loss of Lil Dave and the effect that it had on him years later. Youngboy would rap on the song For Keeps with Rich the Kid that Dave was killed by a chopper or machine gun and that he wishes he could call him. Also, on the aptly named song Homicide, Youngboy expresses his desire to get revenge and kill the person who took Dave's life, as well as saying that he knows Lil Dave is still with him on the song Pt.1. On the song Cage Feeling, Youngboy speaks about the death of Lil Dave, saying that this loss turned his heart cold and made him become a killer. The fact that Youngboy was no stranger to loss of friends and family at such a young age just goes to show you the kind of environment he was growing up in, and the factors that coerced him into the kind of lifestyle he would go on to live. But Youngboy was already being influenced by the streets. He would actually later rap in the song Life that Lil Dave was the person who taught him how to smoke, shoot dice, and get money for sneakers. He also said that he felt life began getting crazy for him when Lil Dave was killed. In the song Better Man, Youngboy would claim to be tormented by the image of Lil Dave's murder in his mind, and on the track How I'm Living, he would vow to make the people responsible bleed for what they did to Dave. Later on the unreleased track Hold 13, that appeared only in a trailer for his hit album Top, Youngboy would rap a lyric which some believe is him actually confessing that when he made his first $20,000, he spent it on a hitman to get revenge on Lil Dave's killer. With this traumatic and personal loss, combined with his family's reputation when it came to robberies, it's no surprise then that as a young teenager, Youngboy dropped out of school in the 9th grade and got heavily involved in the streets, becoming a teenage robber just like his father and uncle. Youngboy would later tell DJ Smalls Eyes in an interview that after his grandmother died, he started robbing himself and ultimately wound up in jail for a robbery at just age 14.
I grew up stealing, taking from people. And at first, my grandma used to take care of me. And when my grandma died, started catching my attention at a younger age. See, I got booked for robbery at my age 14.
Ultimately, Youngboy found himself in a youth detention center for this robbery. But perhaps this would be a blessing in disguise, as while he was incarcerated, he would claim to have found his purpose in life, beginning to write music and using that as a way to express himself and cope with the pains of life, vowing to become an artist rather than a criminal.
I ain't gonna say it was the best thing that happened to me. It helped me know my purpose. It helped me know what I want to do. Within them 6 months, I wrote at least like 25 songs with no beats. It was basically what I was going through, how I was feeling. It helped me learn how to express myself.
Youngboy's family were actually always interested in music. Youngboy claimed to have written his own obscene rap.
So take note, y'all. If y'all want to find y'all purpose, go to jail. About 6-7 months, you come out. Be on top of the world like YB. You come out. Be one of the best at what you doing, you feel me? But you gotta go to jail for 6 months.
Rap lyrics in the 4th grade, and he had apparently been taken to the studio by his mother, who herself was also an aspiring rapper. And his father had even written to him from jail, telling him that he had been writing music during his 55-year sentence, and encouraging Youngboy to focus on music too. So, upon his release from jail for robbery, Youngboy would return to 38th Street with little more than just a dream of becoming a rapper, along with a lifetime of trauma. And before he could get anywhere with his rap career, he would at least need a stable environment to live in. Luckily, he ended up finding a new place in the neighborhood to call home, with Youngboy rapping on the song Life that he met his friend 33 riding his bike down Chippewa, and that 33's mother accepted him into their home like family. According to 33, him and Youngboy are essentially brothers, as the two grew up with the same mother, Monique. But Monique is really 33's biological mother, as we know that Youngboy is the biological son of Sharonda Golden. But due to the fact that 33's mother Monique helped raise Youngboy, he often refers to her as his mother as well, which would make 3-3 his adopted brother, and the two do seem to have a relationship that is stronger than most real brothers. And because of this, the two basically just say they're real brothers.
You said you knew him since you were 4?
Since when?
Because you guys are
Like
brothers,
day one,
and you were born around each other, so it's like you don't have any memories of not knowing them.
No, it's like you know how both our dad is split up, you know what I'm saying? So we got the same mamas. It's like,
man, really, I started making music with my brother. Just really inspired me to go in the booth, because it really wasn't about me. It was really about Youngboy, and I was pushing him. And one day he just told me, man, look, come do this with me. And he pushed me to go in the booth, and I just took a liking into it, and that's where it really started from. So, shout out YB.
Meanwhile, Youngboy's relationship with his own biological mother Sharonda was up and down during his childhood. Years down the line, he would open up about this on the song Lonely Child from his October 2019 project AI Youngboy 2, when he says that even though he called 3-3's mother Monique his adopted mother, he still needs Sharonda in his life. Perhaps due to the lack of a real father figure growing up, meant that he had to rely on both of his mothers for emotional and mental support. But anyway, after getting out of juvenile and finding a new safe space to call home, Youngboy's new spiritual brother 3-3 would be supportive of his aspirations as a rapper, and together this brotherly duo would get back to finessing on the streets to pay for studio time. Eventually, with Youngboy getting enough recording time in to produce a full-length musical project. And by April the 10th, 2015, Youngboy had released his first ever mixtape, Life Before Fame. This tape featured tracks like Homicide and Range Rover, which showed a 15-year-old Youngboy truly had the skills to pay the bills early on. The album begins with an intro where Youngboy mentions an affiliate of his named D-Dog catching a body. This sets the mood for the rest of the album, letting fans know straight away that Youngboy had ties with the streets, despite the fact that he was technically still a child at this point. And in the same song, he gives us an insight into his torturous relationships and the reason behind why he finds it so hard to remain faithful to his partners, even at age 15. In the song I Know, Youngboy begins to paint a menacing picture of his position in the local gang hierarchy, mentioning on 2 occasions how he can rely on another known NBA affiliate by the name of Lil Pap to go get him. A brash statement which shows that even at age 15, Youngboy was really in the streets, with people around him that he could send to do dirty work. Youngboy would also share his experience with Get Back and Vengeance in this project. On the track Deal With It, he talks about how revenge was exacted on the person who killed his uncle, saying that they spotted the person who killed his uncle and that Youngboy witnessed somebody put that person in a casket, and going on to say that the deceased man's brother is now after him. This is an important lyric, as it shows that even back when he was just 15 years old, people were dying around Youngboy, being killed, and he was becoming a target himself, despite not being directly responsible for the violence that had played out. Elsewhere on this song, Youngboy pledges his allegiance to a group called TBG, or Top Boy Gorilla. This is the first crew or record label that Youngboy aligned himself with when he became a rapper, though unfortunately, as is often the case in the streets, over time, as Youngboy's star rose, tension would brew between the members of TBG, arguing over who the next big rapper from the group would be. And eventually, what begun as a partnership would devolve into a deadly beef, with members of TBG picking their sides, and the feud escalating into an all-out gang war, with people being murdered on both sides, and years of heartbreak playing out on the streets and in the music.
Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best way to make money on Amazon is not with physical product.
When Youngboy left juvenile detention, inspired to become a rapper rather than a robber, it wouldn't take long for others to see the potential that this teenage rap prodigy had. From here, a group of people from his neighborhood, with ties to the music industry as well as the streets, would begin to take him under their wing. Youngboy's first mixtape, Life Before Fame, was actually released under the banner of TBG, with Youngboy and 3-3 being seen in throwback pictures rocking TBG merch. TBG stands for Top Boy Gorilla, a crew with a storied history in the wild and dangerous streets of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. TBG was supposedly started by deceased Louisiana native and affiliate of rap veteran Boosie, Little Ivy Smith. He would turn out to be the uncle of future TBG rap prospect Lit Yoshi, but more on him later. Now, Lil Ivy was sadly killed in an unsolved triple homicide back in 2005. However, at this early stage in the game, Youngboy was nothing more than a promising young prospect to these Baton Rouge rap OGs. The older members of TBG were looking to find the next up-and-coming rap rookie who could potentially be the next homegrown rap star to come out of Baton Rouge. And at the time, the real crown jewels of the TBG squad were a couple of rappers known as G Money and Fredo Bang, who around the time were picking up steam with their song iPhone 6 alongside Boulevard Mel and YMM Captain. You can tell that Youngboy was truly close with the TBG crew at this point because Youngboy even appeared in the background of the iPhone 6 music video, at one point handing a Gucci bag to Fredo Bang, a moment that would honestly be inconceivable in what would later become a deadly and bitter beef. As the story goes, the TBG crew had ties to Baton Rouge's criminal underworld, and rappers and affiliates of the TBG crew were still involved in the local drug trade. Unfortunately, soon some of this street beef would end up souring things on the music side, because the TBG crew supposedly had a beef going with another Baton Rouge crew called BBG, or Bottom Boy Gorillas. Gang, crew, clique, record label, call them whatever you want, but BBG and TBG were bitter enemies, with a big rumour at one point going around that Youngboy's cousin Boozilla, who was affiliated with BBG, ended up in a bitter disagreement with G-Money from TBG. Now, there's been intense speculation over the years as to what was the exact cause of this beef. Some have suggested that Boozilla ran off with money or drugs from G-Money, whilst others suggest that the whole drama was actually over a woman. Another explanation even suggests that it was actually Youngboy himself who stole money from G-Money, but actually blamed the finesse on his cousin Boozilla, as Boozilla was seen on Twitter disavowing his own family at one point, and G-Money seemingly indicating that this rumour was true on his diss track Industry, where he claimed that Youngboy had him looking for Boozilla with a gun, and saying that Boozilla actually wanted to kill Youngboy over this whole situation. There's even an old clip circulating that showed Boozilla and BBG affiliate Baby Joe seemingly posted up with guns looking for Youngboy and saying F NBA.
NBA. Pull up. What up, Baby Joe? Pull that bitch up.
This was unusual because previously Boozilla had claimed to be a member of the group NBA, and even at one point referred to himself as NBA Boosie. Now, I'll explain to you what NBA means in a minute, but just bear with me. Because meanwhile, as that personal beef was developing, another more professional beef was emerging between Youngboy and the TBG crew. According to some, at a certain point Youngboy got frustrated with the TBG label. This was likely due to the fact that he wasn't necessarily getting the money or shine that he thought he deserved from the crew, with their main focus being on building the careers of G-Money and Fredo Bang rather than investing in Youngboy. So at some point...
Hey boy, YB definitely surpassed them though, I'm just saying. You feel me? So he must knew his potential and was like, man, put these niggas in the back and put me in the front. You feel me? Like, what are y'all doing? And it worked.
Youngboy and 3-3 would leave TBG, starting their own crew. Initially, 3-3 and Youngboy wanted a group based on Youngboy's initials, Kentrell Golden, or KG. Since KG also means kilograms, the initial idea was to call their crew Weight Gang, another reference to the drug game.
At first his name was like KG, but then we got, like, that's where the Weight Gang come from, but
what did KG stand for?
Like, his initials, that's his name,
right.
But Weight Gang was one of the first things he had came up with.
But clearly that name wasn't really hitting the spot. So later on, a few of the members of this crew were just chilling, sitting on their porch, when Youngboy apparently vowed that he was not trying to go broke no more, to which other members of the crew agreed the same thing, with this pledge giving the crew inspiration to name themselves Never Broke Again, or NBA.
Like when we was on the porch one day, it was like, we ain't trying to go broke no more, and then he was like, I ain't trying to go broke neither, so we never broke again. Like, you know what I'm saying? From day one, that's where NBA started from, like.
So the NBA crew was born, naturally taking some inspiration from the National Basketball Association. They would even make their logo the Jumpman, the iconic logo affiliated with basketball legend Michael Jordan dunking a basketball, but for Never Broke Again, their version would be a man jumping up in the air holding a pistol. Youngboy's NBA crew wanted to go from pistol-toting stick-up kids to music industry heavy hitters being paid as much as professional basketball players. Now, whether or not you like the name, there was no denying that the meaning behind it was powerful, and together, the Never Broke Again crew rallied around Youngboy, vowing to do whatever it took to take him to the top, and make sure that they as a group never go broke again. So before we dive any deeper into the goings-on of the Never Broke Again crew, let's just take a quick look at some of the main members of that collective so that you can follow everything that's about to go down in this long and complicated story.
This game, it's gonna be a part.
You're not ready for it.
Bruh, this shit is 5 hours long, like.
Youngboy is of course the face of Never Broke Again, the NBA collective. He is the label's leading rapper. And this crew's bet on getting behind Youngboy's career would ultimately end up paying off handsomely. And with his crew's support, he would go on to become one of the biggest artists in the entire world. Then there's OG33, NBA's co-founder, who started the group along with Youngboy and Montana.
I started NBA, you know, like, then Youngboy just was really like the main one who was rapping. Like, I don't really Like, I don't really take rapping serious because, like, Youngboy really made me rap.
After 33's mother took Youngboy in as one of her own, they would build a bond as strong as blood brothers.
We got the same moms.
Okay.
Like that.
OG33 is one of 10 children, 5 kids from his mother's side, 5 from his father's side. But he's the oldest of all of them, which has led to him having a mature outlook and a real head on his shoulders, as he's almost had to act like a father figure for Youngboy and his other siblings.
And there's 10 kids altogether, right?
Yeah.
5 from your mom and 5 from your dad.
Yeah. On both sides, I'm close with all my brothers and sisters because I'm the oldest. So it's just like...
You're almost like a father figure in a way.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of responsibility?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, but you know, that's just my role. So it's just, I took on my role.
When Youngboy didn't really want to rap at first, it was 33 that pushed him and made sure that he stuck with it, dedicating his life to elevating Youngboy's career and keeping him on the right path.
I always was the one that always pushed him, like, cause he didn't really want rap at first, but then like once I really found out like he was gonna be that, like I pushed him even more harder. Like I was getting a thought, like I went back to like record companies was doing, like I was getting 1,000 CDs printed up, like man, I didn't got them 1,000 CDs and really passed them out, like just the man of minutes, like this, that.
It's 3 who pulls the strings and make the moves behind the scenes, keeping the ship sailing smoothly and ensuring that the NBA collective runs efficiently and profitably. He apparently would manage the business side of things, sometimes writing contracts or putting shows together.
I was more on like the business and management, like writing contracts and, you know, putting shows together for him. Like when we first started off, I was doing really everything, you know.
And Youngboy apparently even inspired OG3 to start making his own music, because before, 3 was just mainly focused on pushing Youngboy's career.
If it wasn't for YB walking me into the booth, I wouldn't even be in the music because I was just mainly pushing him. It wasn't even about me.
Now, 33 does enjoy rapping, but he's...
Okay, we gonna skip past this because bro, he ain't talking about what we want him to talk about at this moment. Like, bro, we ain't here for all that. We here to get
one
into
beginning
the
with T, with this being a more vanilla interpretation of the gang's name, suggesting that 4KT is a way of Youngboy saying that he's essentially doing what he does for his children, whose initials are K and T. Another explanation circulates, suggesting that 4KT actually means 4 Crazy Trey. This is a reference to Crazy Trey, a young man from Baton Rouge who was gunned down at a party in 2014. He was apparently close friends with one of Youngboy's biggest enemies from Baton Rouge, Fredo Bang, a detail which has led many to suggest that this actually couldn't possibly be the true meaning of 4K Trey, with some outright denying this explanation, suggesting that Youngboy had not even yet associated with Fredo Bang at the time 4KT was founded. There's yet another theory that 4KT actually refers to Youngboy's cousin Boozilla, who was killed in 2016, as his real name was Keandre, with a suggestion that 4K Trey actually was originally 4K Dre, or Keandre, but the Dre over time ended up being changed to Trey. Now look, at this stage, it's unclear exactly what 4K Trey stands for, but in the end, perhaps we aren't supposed to know the real meaning. And the idea that the true origins of this gang that Youngboy supposedly affiliates with being shrouded in secrecy kinda makes perfect sense. After all, Youngboy's artist Quando Rondo would even say in his song Way Up that he actually threw a girl out just for even asking what 4K Trey meant. Clearly it's a secret, and clearly I'm not supposed to know, which means you are definitely not supposed to know. But now you know the city.
What you mean by you don't know, so we definitely not supposed to know?
The gangs, the label, and the people behind the music. Let's take a closer look at the story, the incredible ups, the devastating downs, and the lessons to be learned from Youngboy's one-of-a-kind career and life journey.
Wawa has pizza. Get it delivered with a $0 delivery fee.
Wawa
Gotta have
pizza.
a Wawa.
I never had it. You know what? As soon as this video over, I'm going to...
After falling out with his old label and crew, TBG or Top Boy Gorillas, Youngboy and his brother from another mother, OG3, would start their new crew, NBA, vowing to make it in the rap game and never go broke again.
From day one, that's where NBA started from, like, me and him sitting on that porch, like, really saying
he already said this part, bro.
The formation of his new NBA crew was announced with a bang when Youngboy dropped his earliest surviving music video, the aptly titled NBA, on his own YouTube channel. That video saw Youngboy and 33 surrounded by their NBA muscle all around 38th Street with all type of firearms. And the song itself came with lyrics where Youngboy shouted out his shooter, NBA Pap, rapping that he sends Pap to go and hit people up, as well as shouting out another shooter as NBA Connor with the Mac 11, going on on to describe his NBA shooters as being as proficient with firearms as Navy SEALs. He would also rap about the cops and his ops in the city trying to hunt him down, and naming NBA outright as the gang that he represents. Youngboy's first ever mixtape, Life Before Fame, was launched under the TBG banner, the label Top Boy Gorillas, with their logo visible on the bottom left of the cover art. But by December 1st, 2015, Youngboy was going at it alone under his new NBA banner, with a fresh mixtape, Mind of a Menace, being released fully independently and presented under the banner of his own NBA crew. And it would appear that Youngboy and NBA were using this project as an opportunity to drop sneak disses and disrespect towards their former crew TBG. On the project, he would drop several lines that were directed towards TBG, suggesting that they envied him and that he wasn't willing to work under somebody else's administration. Youngboy was beginning to build momentum independently of his former crew, and he'd keep his foot on the gas into 2016, following up his second mixtape with Speed. On April the 1st, 2016, only 4 months after Mind of a Menace dropped, Youngboy blessed his budding fanbase with a sequel, Mind of a Menace 2, and on this project, he continued to drop shade on his former crew TBG. In the intro for this tape, he suggests that they didn't live up to their promises and says that he's ready to go to war with his former allies. Then in the song A Lot of Miles, Youngboy explains that rather than switching on TBG like some say he did, he actually claims to have just gotten smarter and that he hasn't really changed at all. Perhaps indicating that he felt he got smart to what was going on and realised that his career would benefit more as a free agent. Youngboy would seemingly indicate his team's readiness to go to war with their former crew. On the track Fact, rapping that he's riding around with Pap, OG3 and Guns looking for their ops and aiming to make their guns go boom when they see them. Around this time, it seems clear that Youngboy formed his winning strategy of flooding the internet with music through frequent mixtape releases. Less than 3 months after Mind of a Menace 2, Youngboy would drop yet another mixtape, Before I Go, which was released on June the 27th.
One thing I can say, that boy be working, boy. Did he say 3 days or 3 weeks after he dropped one mixtape, he dropped another mixtape? That's crazy to be doing. That's too much fucking work, bro. 3 weeks and you drop another mixtape, not even a month?
2016. And on this project, Youngboy would begin to drop hints alluding to the ongoing beef with G Money, the star rapper of his former crew TBG, Top Boy Gorillas. Youngboy would also be shooting more threats to his former crew on the song Change, saying Youngboy not TBG, and if someone plays, he's gonna get it. And another lyric on the song Change seemed to acknowledge a rumour that G Money had actually hooked up with Youngboy's sister, with Youngboy saying he won't speak on sleeping with my sister, something that perhaps wasn't public knowledge at the time of this song's release. But around a year later, G Money would openly admit and kind of brag about hooking up with Youngboy's sister in a Say Cheese interview.
He met about his sister too though.
About his sister?
Yeah, I had a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
The beef between Youngboy and G Money would be further complicated by Youngboy's cousin Boozilla. Boozilla repped BBG, or Bottom Boy Gorillas. They were the main rivals of TBG until Youngboy started his NBA crew. Story goes that G Money from TBG was beefing with Boozilla from BBG over some stolen drugs. Drugs which some believe Youngboy himself may have actually stolen.
More to the story, kids. Stay away from drugs, guns, people's sisters, and record deals that's not making money. You feel me? Because if he was still with that record deal, we won't even be doing this video, bro. Do anybody, that shit probably don't even exist anymore. If it was a record deal, a motherfucking group, whatever. Bro knew what he was doing. He was like, man, that shit, what is this? This ain't, I'm still stuck here. Like, what? Then bro caught on to that wave. His own wave. He caught on to his own wave and he started doing what he doing, and now look at him. All that's telling me is you gotta, whatever your mind tell you, just do it. Don't think about shit else. Your mind, if you working at a job and your mind say, man, quit this shit, do it. Because it ain't only your mind finna take it to church. It ain't only your mind. That's God sending the angel to whisper in your ear. And if you let it come out the other ear, it may never come back to you again. Because angels don't waste their time. You feel me? So that's all I took. I'm going to just be real. I'm not finishing this damn video. I I'm going to do a part 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. I don't know. But I ain't finna do a whole hour right now because I got shit to do. So make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button if y'all want to see part 2 and 3. You feel me? And yeah, hit that notification button, bro. I'm out. Y'all can continue to watch it, but not with me. I'm just saying.